In this video we'll be continuing with the csharp.net video tutorials. So in this video we'll be continuing with properties. Let's just talk about what we did in the last video. So in the last video we talked about, so we did this. If you haven't seen the video, it's in the C# playlist on my channel, csharp.net. So we talked about properties. So here let's just talk about what we did. So let's just talk about this bit here, this class, what it is. So it's a property description, but it's a little confusing because it's not in most languages. So what we did here is, where are we? Okay. So this is our class. It's called animal. So this line here is a, one sec, sorry. So this statement declares a private string named _name. So the underscore is just conventional for properties. You don't have to include the underscore. It just helps you determine it looking at lots of code quickly. So the _name field is the backing field for the name property. So this is the backing field right there. So properties are a little tricky, so we're just going to discuss what we did before we move on. So the name field is the backing field for the name property. So when a value is assigned to the name property, it is stored in the _name field. Notice that we have started the field's name with, okay, I already talked about that the underscore character is not required. It's just basically to just show that it's it's just like a conventional way to show that it's a backing field, but you don't have to do it that way. You can include another symbol, or if you can. I think only a few symbols are allowed. Or you could just name it as normal. Okay, so then this is the constructor here. So all we did was just set the name to an empty string. We set the backing field to an empty string. So when an instance of the pet class is created, when an instance or object of the animal class is created, the constructor assigns an empty string to the name field. Okay. Let's just see where we are now. Okay, so this part here at line 42, if you can see that. This is the beginning of a property declaration. It specifies 3 things about the property. So public. The property is public, so it can be used by code outside the class. So most properties are declared as public. So just be careful with any public access modifiers. Okay, string. So the property's data type is string. So we know that. And name the properties. The name of the property is name. Or it's a little tricky because we took the underscore out. But basically, that's just the way you do it. So you declare the property kind of like that, the backing field like that, and then you set when you get the property, you return the backing field. So it's a little tricky. I would try to practice just writing this thing out like 50 times or something. That might work. Okay, so we have an opening curly brace here. So then we have a closing brace down there, obviously. Okay, so this is the property's get accessor. You can think of the get accessor as a method that returns a property value. So you've seen these before, but it's a little bit different. it's not like, you know, it's not like a get method that you create. It has a special syntax. So you can think of it like just like a normal getter and setter, but it's a bit different. It's called a get accessor, and you can think of it as a method. You can think of the get accessor as a method that returns a property value. So here you can see that it returns. You can see that it returns the property value. So the return statement returns the value of the underscore name field, or the backing field, because remember, this is the backing field. So it's a field, but it's called a backing field. Like, it's a normal field, but it's just a backing field. That's what it's called. So it's a little bit different than a normal field in regards to properties. So the get accessor is executed anytime the property is read. So it just retrieves the property value for you. Okay, so then we have the, actually I'm at the wrong spot. Okay, so we're here. Then we have the set accessor. The purpose of the set accessor is to set the property to a value. The set accessor has an implicit parameter named value. Right there. It is implicit because it is not declared. I don't think that's an actual reserved word. Okay, so we'll check that out if it is. I don't think it might be. Let's just see. I'm just going to try to declare a variable with that name to check. So I'll go like int value. No, we've used value before. I don't think it's I don't think it's a reserved word. I think it's just like an implicit kind of almost like a parameter name, but it's a little bit different. Because look at this syntax: public string name, and then we're opening a block here between here and here. So I think that, between here and here, I think the compiler knows that we're going to create a property in that case, and then this is almost like a implicit parameter, where you can create a method name. You can create a parameter for a method name and name it whatever you want, and pass it something that doesn't equal the same name. So I think it's the same idea as that. This is the properties set accessor. The purpose of the set accessor is to set the property to a value, the set accessor. Okay, so we have an implicit parameter named value. It is implicit because it is not declared. As the parameters in a regular method are, okay, so it is not declared as the parameters in a regular method are. So the set accessor has an implicit parameter named value. It is implicit because it is not declared. As the parameters in a regular method are, so it's not declared as the parameters in a regular method are. So it has an implicit parameter named value. So because it's not declared. So value is not declared anywhere, and then as the parameters in a regular method are. So that's what it means. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was kind of talking about, is that it's kind of like a normal method where you name it something, and then you kind of just have that you have access to different names. So I'm pretty sure you could have just called this whatever you want, basically. So hopefully that makes sense. So the value parameter is automatically created by the compiler, and its data type is the same as that of the property. In this case, the value parameter's data type is string. So any time a value is assigned to the property, or any time a value is assigned to a property, the property set accessor is executed, and the value being assigned is passed into the value parameter. So anytime a value is assigned to a property, the property set accessor is executed. So this, anytime you set a value to the property, the set accessor is accessed because you're basically mutating the property, or you're setting the property. Okay, so then and the value being assigned is passed into the value parameter. So this value is almost like a parameter, but there's actually no parameter, so it's a little tricky. As you can see, there's no parentheses here like this, right? And it doesn't say that we go value or like string value, right? It's a little bit different. I think that's how the compiler knows how to differentiate methods and properties. It was just set up that way by the Microsoft developers. They wanted to go with this syntax. Okay, so what else do we have here? Actually, that's pretty much it. We'll just see what exact line they're talking about, my professor's talking about in these notes. Okay, so underscore name points to value right there. So what's happening there? So this just assigns the value parameter to the underscore name field. That's it. So now let's do something else. Let's show how we can use the animal class's name property. Okay. So we can create, where are we here? Class. So let's just pretend we're under here using that class. So we can just pretend this is like a main method or something. So we can go animal. So you can call it class. We can say cat. What you can do is go, let's go with cat. Let's go with cat1 points to new animal. We can go with animal cat2 points to new animal. Okay, so now we're going to set their name properties. So you could have created anything. You could have created a user for an app, 2 users for an app, something, anything like that. Then you could have gone, okay, then we want cat1, then we want to access the name property right here. Cat1.name points to, I think it was actually under lowercase, because we have in our class we created a property with our backing field. Okay. And so the name property is just like this. Name lowercase. And we return the name property. Okay, so these get and set, I believe those are reserved words. So just be careful with those. So cat1.name here, then we'll go with points to, we can just go with, for example, Jasmine here. Okay, so for the next cat, we can go cat2.name points to, for example, Tiga. Okay, so we got 2 cats with their name properties set, and we want to finally just display the name. So messagebox.show, and then we want to say that cat1's name is concatenated to, we'll go with cat1 dot name property, close the method with a semicolon, and here we'll go messagebox.show, and we'll show cat2's name is, close a string, concatenated to, whoops, sorry, close the string, then concatenated to cat2.name. Okay, so this is, we're just calling the messagebox.show method. Everyone can see that, hopefully. So messagebox.show cat1's name in a string, concatenated to. Notice how I created an empty space there to space out the stuff so it's readable. You could have put one there. I don't think you really need that one there. So if you don't put that there, everything's just going to be in one line when it gets printed out to the user. So here we have cat1.name. We're just referencing the property. Referencing the property. So the name property. So notice that you maybe could have named it as a capital. You could have named it with a capital. Microsoft has the built-in properties with capitals. As you know, it's different than Java, because of that, because they're capital, some are lowercase. And Java and seems to be that most are, or if not all, are uppercase in C#. So that's pretty much it. That's how you create a property in a class and access it. So we'll probably be doing some more practice with that soon. Might have a description here. Okay, so we create two cat objects. We call the, where are we? Right there. Sorry, we create two animal objects and name them cats. We call the animal class's constructor and assign a reference to the object to the cat1 and cat2 variable. So then after the statement executes, the cat1 variable references the animal object. So we do that twice. Okay, so then we set the, where are we here? So the statement sets the cat1 object, or I think it's cat1. Where are we at? Yeah, so it sets up the cat1's object name property to Jasmine. So that's a string. So then when this statement executes, the name property set accessor is accessed, and the string Jasmine is passed to the value parameter. So that's right here. Going back to here in the name property definition. And this, okay, yeah, so we set the string, and then the value parameter is assigned to the cat1 object's name field, or backing underscore name field, so the backing field. So it shouldn't, I mean, it's a little tricky, but it's not impossible. If you guys can understand what's happening here. That's how you define a property in a class. You need a backing field, which is just a normal, you need a normal, like a normal field here. We added an underscore for convention to help us show that it was different than the name itself. We could have just went with a capital here. We could have went with a lowercase here without an underscore. It's up to you. Microsoft does it this way, so you could just do it that way if you want. Helps you memorize it. Most programmers do it this way, so if you're reading like code, like pretend you're working on a team and you're reading everyone's code, you probably want to stick with a convention. Uppercase and lowercase is up to you. You don't have to do this, obviously, because once you read this a million times, you'll know what the backing field is and what the property name is and all that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I think we did this. What else did we do here? Okay. Yep, so that's pretty much it. So when an accessor contains only a single statement, many programmers prefer to write the entire accessor in one line of code. So we did that in the notes. I wouldn't like to do that, but it's up to you. If you look at Microsoft developer code, you'll see it like this. So everyone's wondering what that is. 1 sec here. So we'll have so the name property in the animal class could have been written like, okay, so it could have been done like this. So under here, so we could pretend this was the main method. So then under here we could have had alternate way to declare a property. Okay, so this is the alternate way. The alternate way is just, for example, public string name. So that part stays the same. As you can see, public string name. We're just going to keep that exactly the same. We're going to open a block. And here we're going to call the get keyword. And instead of doing it like this, which I prefer to do, you could go like this. So you could go with a space. You can see normal code like this as well. You just go return name, close the block, all in one line. So then you go set here, open a block, return, you go set, open a block, then underscore name points to, then we'll call that value parameter, semicolon, and then curly bracket. So how are they different? They're not really different. Everything's just on one line. It's just the same thing, because you can write code like this as well. You could have wrote this whole thing like that, I think, or almost maybe like that. Or I don't really do that, so I'm not sure. I usually just stick with this. Some people prefer, and because some of you are gonna hate me because of the way I do this, but you can actually just do that. Some people prefer it that way. They're used to that. So some people might just hate my code in general, because I don't like looking at code like that. It's just, you're either that way or the other way. Or you're like this, but I don't think that many people are like that. So some are like this, and half are like this, and then half are like me. So it's up to you. Or some are just, they do it all 3 ways. So the concise style of writing accessors reduces the number of lines code. So yeah, so you could this just reduces the number of lines. That just reduces the number of lines in a code. Okay, so in the next, we'll just take a little break here. So in the next video, we'll be discussing properties versus public fields. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys like the video, you can like and subscribe to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. The rest of the videos will be in the C# playlist on my channel, csharp.net. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Thanks.